All right, another 30 by 10. Doing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Definitely hit subscribe. Let your friends know if they have any obscure teams that the national media doesn't cover. I'm covering every team every week and give you at least 10 minutes on every team in the NBA. What I thought about their week, what I think about trends that's going on with them. So definitely hit subscribe. We're doing bet of the day above 60% winners on that. So check that out. And then NBA Nightly Notes starting today. So just putting out more content. Definitely hit subscribe. Thank you for all the comments. I respond to all the comments, and let's go ahead and get started. Cleveland Cavaliers currently 6 in the East, 5-5 in the last 10. Winners of 3 in a row, and five and probably 5 in a row if they would have got the Wizards on a back-to-back slate, but that was postponed because of COVID. Had back-to-back wins over the Nets, with one without KD, but it's still something to hang your hat on. Everyone's talking about the second backcourt, so we'll go ahead and start there. Sexton, he's averaging about 27 a game, shooting really good clips from the field and from three. About 53% from the field, about 40 from three. We'll see if that lasts, but it's definitely encouraging. Sexton, Garland isn't shooting as well, but I think he's a more natural playmaker. They seem to enjoy playing with each other, and whenever you have two guards, you always have to worry about that, and you hope that they get a simpatico similar to a Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum, and that seems to be the case, at least initially. So you have to be um, encouraged by that. And also, there's not that much skill overlap. Like I said, Garland seems to be a more natural playmaker, and Sexton is just like a score score hungry more type player. So that's one thing. Kevin Porter Jr. trade. I thought he might have been the more talented of the three of them, but he had some obviously personal issues that he was dealing with. I believe that's probably why he fell in the draft, because he was supposed to be a lottery talent. So the Rockets picking him up, I think there was a good trade for them. Cleveland. I was more on the side of actually the team saying how could he, be so disrespectful to his GM, but Kenny Smith on Inside the NBA made a good point. Like, you shouldn't move players' lockers without telling them. To move someone in is, it's like you're kind of, moving them out, metaphorically. And I'm just from a different cloth. I don't think at any time, if you're a younger man, you should talk to an elder like that. But I could definitely see how, if he had a personal issue and you feel like the team is literally moving me out the way, how you could react to that poorly. So we'll see what happens with him. I do think your trade is good just because for morale, it looks like the team likes each other. They're happy for each other. They like to play with each other. I just remember how crazy the bench was going during those next games, how hard they were cheering, how hard guys like Kevin Love and Garland, who didn't play the first game, were cheering in overtime for Sexton. So you don't want to mess that up. I think they're getting great production out of their bigs. Nance, who Zach Lowe did a segment on, is just playing out of his mind. He's defending threes. He's shooting threes well. He's playing great. He's a player that I always was fond of. He's just a really smart player, incredible athlete, incredibly long. And they've been playing him a lot at the small forward position. And he's making threes. If he's going to make threes at this clip and defend the way he's been defending, there's no problem with it. Drummond, he's played well. He's doing a lot more facing up, and dribble moves into like from mid post areas. I mean, he's scoring at a good clip. I mean, these were games versus DeAndre Jordan, who most people will agree is not the defender that he used to be. So, it remains to be seen if this is something that they can hang their hat on. But, once again, he's making moves and attacking the basket. Getting Jared Allen is a steal. It doesn't look like Drummond's going to be on the team long. He's on a 1-year deal. And he's someone who I think is a trade target for a couple of teams. Or should be, at least in my opinion. But Jared Allen, once again, when he got traded at 22 years old, I didn't know he was that young, and two, I've seen a discernible change in his game. He has improved his game. He can dunk. Definitely, he's an athletic finisher, but he has a good floater. So that only enhances his ability in the pick and roll, enhances what the team can do with him with those two guards that I mentioned at the top. And he's added some more size so he can deal with the low post bullies a little bit more. 2 years ago when they played the Sixers, it just was a bloodbath, him guarding Joel Embiid. And I think it's probably is still now, but that's for everybody. But it's just not as bad as it was before. And then if you're a team like Cleveland, you're looking to make the playoffs, and right now they're 6 seed. They would probably play like an Indiana or Miami, and he would have to guard a Bam or a Sabonis, so he's more equipped to do that. So I just think once again that was a great trade. Their wing position, they have Prince, Cedi Osman, and Okoro. They have quite a few players actually at that wing position. And then we talked about Nance playing it as well. You have some friskiness. They play defense. They're good defenders. That's Okoro's calling card. Sadie Osman's always competed on that end. Prince is someone who a lot of people want to be a 3-and-D player, and there's been some talk that he wanted to expand his role, but we'll see if this is something that he embraces and steps in Cleveland, because they definitely could use him. While I say these guys are frisky, none of them are shooting particularly well besides Prince as he's gone to Cleveland. I think Osman's shooting 31%, Okoro's 25%. And, definitely on the wings when you have these two guards who are going to dribble and penetrate, and you have these dive bigs and Jared Allen and Drummond. You need wings that are going to make these threes, and they're not really getting that right now. Their offensive rating is actually pretty low. I saw a stat that they had the worst in the league until they played the Nets twice, who can't stop a nosebleed. But we'll see if now, after the Jared Allen trade and getting Sexton back and getting Garland back, we'll see how this team melds. So getting close to calling them a playoff lock. Just the way that they're playing. Once again, they're competing to getting Kevin Love back. I heard um, some trade rumors, but we'll see what happens on that this week. For the rest of this week, I'm recording this on a Saturday. They have Boston. They have the Lakers this week, Detroit, and the Knicks. So we'll see if it's real. With that, at worst, they have to split. The Knicks and Detroit, that's two teams they definitely should win. And if they could beat Boston or beat the Lakers in an upset, that's a way that they can show that they've arrived. So I definitely think if you had to be pointing any way, arrow up and arrow down is definitely arrow up with this team. Just really like what they've put together. I really like the way that they play for one another. Once again, it's wing shooting that I think they need. I've talked about a Drummond trade. One trade possibility that really intrigued me was maybe getting a Beasley from Minnesota. Minnesota seems like they have too many wings with Beasley, and they have Russell, and they have Edwards, and they have Culver. These are all players who, especially Culver and Edwards, these are young players who should be getting run and getting minutes. And what they lack is big men. I like the Nas Reed and like Towns, who's been in and out, but I think they're another team that should embrace really going big and beating people up in the pivot. So I think a guy like Beasley, who's shown he can score, who's shown that he can shoot, I would love to see him on a team like Cleveland. So, Cleveland and people might frown at that because he just signed a pretty sizable contract. But see, Cleveland's not a team that has ever been a free agent destination. And two, if you look at this free agent class that's coming in, it's just so poor that I think, it's going to be hard for you to find a player at the value of Beasley that's going to generally want to come to Cleveland. So that's just a trade that I think the Cavs should look at. But all in all, once again, I think the arrow is definitely up on them. We'll see with those two games. I think at the very least, once again, they should get a split. We'll see what happens. Boston and Lakers, I think Boston's probably the more memorable game, but we'll definitely see what happens. But you have to be encouraged with that Sexton backcourt, and especially Sexton in general. We'll see if his play can keep up, especially his shooting. He's shooting the lights out of it. And there's a couple players around the league that are shooting the lights out of it right now. So, you know, you do think maybe that might have regressed to the mean, but maybe he's just gotten better. That you have to accept and look forward to. So Cleveland definitely on the way up. So 30 by 10, Cleveland Cavaliers. If you have any questions, comments, definitely leave me a comment. I respond to all of them. Once again, we're going to do this every week, 10 minutes on lease, and every team, a little bit more if I'm with one of my partners. But definitely get at me. Better today. Nightly notes. Game is the game. Yeah.